Hello, welcome to the Connect 0007 experience. Here, we come to the podcast where human connection is everything. If you're trying to connect better with those around you, you're in the right spot. So please, sit back, relax, open your mind, and enjoy the experience. Well, good morning, everybody. I am your host, Thaddeus Sims, of the podcast where human connection is everything. And we are on our 51st episode called Value Exchange. And I must say, I'm pretty proud of the progress so far. 50 episodes, and we started November of last year. Something like that. It was November. I'm not sure the exact date, but it was November. So, welcome. And for those of you guys who are new, I'm excited, definitely, to be sharing this with you. Also, totally random, but I would like to say hello to everybody who is in Spain right now, because I have been seeing, I don't know who's in Spain, but hey, you guys have been doing it over there. The numbers have been growing, and I'm just like, what? I'm like, I didn't even know. So, welcome to the podcast. So you guys are awesome. I'm definitely excited for everyone who's out there who's listening to the podcast. So welcome. Now, going into our announcements, there are two. The first one is there was going to be a guest speaker today, but we had to reschedule and stuff. So that'll happen sometime soon. I'll keep you guys updated. And the second announcement is that I believe this is the last shirt that will be released today. So that will be all of the new shirts that I have been releasing for the past 7 weeks now. So check that out. Now, going into the fun fact, which I never thought about this, but now I know. The fun fact is bananas are curved because they grow towards the sun. And immediately as I said that, I heard a good friend of mine says, well, duh, that. But I'm going to expose him anyways. His name is Vaughn. He's a very close friend of mine. And he's super smart. And the things that are very, I guess, common that people were taught in school, because apparently my body was in school, but my mind was elsewhere, apparently, is what I'm told. But I didn't know that. So, for those who did not know that, I did not know that either. And we can all be friends. For the rest of you who did know that, you can be friends with Vaughn. So apparently, the bananas go through a process called negative geotropism. Oh, here we go. Geotropism. I'm saying that so weird. Geotropism. I can't even. I'm really trying here. Geotropism. Whatever that word. I really did try. Whatever. Geotropism. Y'all can pronounce that yourselves. I really did try. Y'all heard me. I struggled. I don't know what it is with the EO and the TRO ain't clicking for me. But whatever. Instead of growing towards the ground, they start growing towards the sun. The fruit grows against gravity, which gives the bananas a familiar curved shape. So there you go. I really can't pronounce that word. I really tried. Whatever, I tried. I really did, y'all. I didn't give up. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna have Siri speak it for me, and I'm gonna get that word right. So for y'all who listen to the podcast, don't come for me later on and be like, "Did you figure out the word?" Because I will. Now, going into the podcast, let us talk about exchanging value between those you are connected with, or those you just connect with. And I woke up this morning and I remembered a conversation that I had with a new friend. We were just talking about people always venting to, she was saying people always come to vent to her. And she was saying that if they're going to always give her like the negative stuff, she wants to hear the positive stuff too. She was saying, don't always come and dump, your negative energy on me. Like, that's draining. Give me the positives too. So if you're going through some positive stuff, please tell me that. Don't always tell me, the negatives. And we had a good talk, and I was like, yeah, I relate to you on that, because I've had some people, in my time of connecting with others who would tell me all of their crazy, they would vent to me. But it's just like, after a while, it's just like, okay, bro, tell me something good. Tell me something else that's good with you. But before going into that, because I will give you some examples with that, but that was really the birth of this episode. So I want you all to take a moment to think about the value that you bring to others. So literally take a moment, like, let's have a moment of silence. Okay, that's good. There you go. Y'all could have paused it. I ain't have to do that. Y'all could have paused it, but I wanted to be different, add something else into the mix. But for real though, actually take a moment. And just to share with you, for me, I know that I'm a good listener. I'm solution-minded, authentic, and not afraid to tell you if you're right or wrong, especially if you're wrong. And I'm close with you. I'm not afraid. There's obviously other values that I can bring, but just focusing on that for now, it's important that you are aware of those values that you bring. They don't have to be the same as mine. Your values could be something completely different and whatnot. So I wanted you to do that because this is going to be very important as you'll see where we go from here with your values and what you can do with those. So let's talk about this. So starting from, we'll say, the negative end of it. If you add nothing of value to the connections that you have, your connection with others will eventually dwindle and go out. So I'm going to give you some examples of that, because some of you may have had relationships with people and, for some reason or another, y'all wasn't really feeling each other. Some of y'all may have thought y'all outgrew them, but that's a whole nother topic. But we're going to focus on this. So let me give you an example of, just the negative side of it. So like I said, when I started off earlier, if you're always venting to someone, make sure you give them some positive stuff too. And here's why. After a while, if you're constantly venting to that individual, they're going to, sorry guys, had a little pop up. Yes, eventually they're going to associate you as that, oh, this is the friend that always goes through something, to the point where every time you call them or message them, they're not really trying to hear it. You know what I mean? They're not really trying to take the time to hear you, because they know you're going to kind of like bring their vibe down a little bit. So the person over time may start to distance themselves from you, and you may think they started acting weird, but it's just that. And you have to be aware, like, yes, you can vent to your friends. But make sure, for me, I always say, if you're going to vent to someone, kind of make sure you are already like working on the solution, instead of just going through it and just calling the person and having them figure out your life stuff. It's like, it's your life. There's other factors in that person probably will never know, no matter how hard you try. And, already try to be working on a solution. So in a sense of, come at it like, hey, this is what I'm going through, blah, blah, blah. This is what I'm thinking to do. I tried this. I worked on that. I'm thinking of applying this. What are your thoughts on that? That way, the person is just like, oh, okay, so, they're working on it. They actually are doing something. They're not just dumping it on me for me to figure it out. Because when you do that, then the person's like, okay, well, try this. And it was like, well, I did, but they did this, that, and the other. And I was like, okay, so every time I'm giving you a solution, there's other factors and problems that, was not in there. And it's just like, okay, so this is your life, bruh. So, so try to already begin working on that. And another thing is, like I said, after a while, they'll start kind of distancing themselves from you because not everybody wants to hear that. Like, not everybody wants to take the time to really just, okay, let me just hear this person out because I already know this for the room, my vibe. And a person can, do their thing. They cannot, there are some people who can keep their vibes up, but it's the mental thought knowing, okay, this person's going through something again. And some people are not like that. So some people eventually are going to not want to hear it. And you're going to realize they're not going to be talking to you as much. So bring them some positive stuff too. Meaning, if you did go through whatever the heck you did through and you talk to them and you say, hey, this is what I'm working on, and they do it, let them know, hey, thank you so much. I figured it out with so-and-so, me and that individual, whoever the other parties were involved. We talked about it. Boom. It worked out. If you really want to take your relationship to a next level, because a lot of people don't really like to do the extra stuff when it comes to, the connections they have. They may do extra stuff when it comes to something particularly just for themselves. But if you take the extra step, meaning, hey, dude, thank you for your advice, for, helping me out with what are you doing later? I wanted to maybe treat you somewhere, or I maybe wanted to get you a gift, maybe. And you may not even have to spend money, guys. You maybe say, hey, like, I wanted to, pick you up, or let's drive somewhere. Find something extra to add value, like to that person's, to that connection. Because now when you do that, the person feels, oh, wow, they, actually value me as an individual. They value the advice, the time, the patience that I gave them for whatever they're venting to. And I guarantee you, when you start doing some of that extra stuff, you will get a hell of a lot more out of that person, and it will change things. I promise you, give it a try. Definitely give it a try. I personally do not like to vent to close people around me, because usually I figure it out. But sometimes if I do need to vent to them, I'll find some way to, show my appreciation, tell them I love them, thank you and stuff like that. But there's something I'll find, do something extra for them. So here's another example, second example. I pretty much call it taking from the fountain, but not adding anything in return. Meaning you're always going to someone for this, that, and the other, and never really investing back into them. So you're just a taker at that point and not giving. I'm just going to cut straight to the point. You're just taking. Now, I kind of already talked a little bit about this in the previous example, but guys, you have to be aware when you're always taking, and it may not be just in venting and advice stuff, but if you're always, just think about it. If you're always just taking from an individual, like you're always going to a source. So let me just give you a very simple example would be if I'm always going to a friend's house and I'm always eating their food, right? But I'm never really treating them out nowhere or noticing that these are the common foods that I eat at their house. Maybe before I go over there, I'm going to stop to the grocery store and put some of that food back in there. Or ask them, hey, is there something you want to eat? Or different things like that. Because when you're a taker, it's just not good. And let me tell you about this, because some people may hear this and they may be like, oh, yeah, you're right. And they're just going to leave it right there. But let me tell this to you, this secret here. And I'm sure you heard about this. When you give, you're going to get back. So you can imagine when you take, the opposite end of that, things are going to be taken from you. So for some of us who are always taking, and we're realizing that stuff is always happening in our lives where things have to be taken out from us, you kind of wonder like, okay, maybe I need to start giving. And the giving doesn't have to be money wise. It doesn't have to be just that. You can give your time, you can give your patience, you can give your thoughts, your ideas and things like that, and you'll get that back. So here's some example that I have come to notice amongst different people when they're always taking, is that every time there is something that's happening to where they either got into some situation where now they have to pay a bill, pay a ticket, do something, and it has to come out of them some way. They have to figure it out, or they never really get a break. Something's always coming up for them that they always have to they pretty much always have to go through something. So when you're always taking, best believe something's going to be taken back from you. So if you want to avoid that and you want to breathe and you want to make things a bit easier for yourself, start giving back to the fountain, and invest back into these things. As that's as simple as I'm going to make it for you. So yeah, do that. Keep it simple. Now, I want to shift gears here because I started y'all off on the negatives. I always like to start you off on the negative so we can end it on the positive. You know what I mean? So let's do this. Now, when you do add value to others, your connection will grow to new levels. I would like to give you some really good examples with this because I love this stuff, So one example is, one of the values that I bring personally to my connections is the opportunity for growth. And you guys can totally do this super easy. So an example would be, at some point in my relationships with other people, I'll ask if there's more that I can do to make our relationship better. And mind you, our relationship could be perfect. In my mind, there's no issues. We're not fighting or anything like that. It could be A-okay. And when I'm asking that question is not because I feel that there's something wrong, but I just want to add, I want to just do more. I want us to grow more. I want to know, hey, is there something that I could do better that I'm not, aware of? So, for example, a lot of people may think, oh, everything was good in my world, but you'll come to find that the other person may have not shared certain things because either there wasn't an opportunity for it, it wasn't asked of them, different things like that. So once you do that, you start asking, hey, is there anything I can do to make it better? Is there, communicate? Can I communicate better? And just be straight up, be honest with them. It's like, hey, I feel like, actually, I'm going to give you an actual live example. I was talking with a good friend of mine. We were hanging out with some other friends, and I was just telling him some of the new things that I was, learning about and experiencing. And I told him, I was like, hey, bro, I usually do this, with close friends of mine and whatnot. And I wanted to ask you, is there anything that I could do to make me and your relationship better? And he basically said, keep sharing keep doing you, keep sharing your perspectives and stuff like that, because he likes to learn, and he likes, when he has a perspective on something and someone may have a different perspective, it allows him to really expand his knowledge on the subject matter. So he really likes that. So he was telling me, if there's something that I bring about and you have a different perspective on it, please tell me. And that was perfect, because now I know, okay, by me doing this, I can make our relationship better. Versus, I could say, hey, I want to do this. I want to communicate. I want to do that. And the fourth, but the person may have been just like, dude, you don't need to do all of that. Just do this one thing. And it just makes it easy. Now I'm focused. I know the one specific thing that'll make it as better. And when you do that with those around you, you will see it will take your relationship to whole new levels. You may find that you're already doing a good job with what you're doing, could be communicating and things like that. And the person may just say, hey, just, allow me to take you out more, because you're always taking me out. Allow me to do that. And you'll come to find, guys, as weird as that sounds, I know I just talked about the whole thing about giving, but we do need to receive. You'll find that there are some friends who really would like to do more for you, but you have to allow them to do it. So I've had that before where I was going to go and take a friend out and he was like, nope. He was saying, next time I'm treating both of us. I'm doing it. You always do it. And I was like, no, bro. It's fine. He's like, no, I ain't trying to hear it. Let me just do it. And I was like, okay. But you'll be surprised, guys, if you have that opportunity where you ask people, you'll see your relationship will go to new levels. You'll discover new things about your friend that you were not aware of because you didn't ask. So boom, there's that. Exchanging values, guys. I'm giving y'all things. Boy, I'm telling you, y'all for to be real best friends with these people. Okay. Another example is one of the things that I do besides the opportunity for growth is that I like to make things simple for my friends for them to help me if I need it. Some other friends, I make it difficult because that's just our relationship. I have to make it difficult for them because they are, I can say this, they can be a-holes. And if it's simple, they try to attack me. But if it's complicated, you know what I mean? I can hold them a little bit. So anyways, that's one of the values that I like to bring, making things simple. And you can do that for those around you when it comes to if you need help with something, make things simple. So one of the things is when I need help, I like to, okay, what is the problem? This is, problem A, I can't go here. Why is that? Can't go here because I'm not really sure how to get there. The directions are acting weird, this, that, and yeah. I've tried everything and it's bothering me and I'm getting pissed and I'm going to say, F it. So what I do is I call a friend who's super good at directions and they may live in that area. And I may say, hey, I was like, hey, I'm stuck on something. I was wondering if you can help me with it. Sure. What's up? Okay. I tried to get to this location here. Every time I go here, they're telling me that it's in a different spot. I'm not really sure and I'm really getting frustrated. I believe you've been in that area before. You know me. Could you use a landmark or something that I'd identify with to get me to that location, please? And that person like, oh, yeah, sure, dude. I know that they say the instructions are weird and that and the other, but that site that you're using is not a good site. What you'd want to do is go on their personal website and they will tell you, hey, we moved locations. It's here. You can do that. But just in case you're too frustrated to do that, I will tell you, you know where the old Target used to be? Yes. Okay. Go down that street. You remember where that one person we seen that looked like Miss Betty, but she was carrying her walker and she had fell, and then I don't know, the squirrel like took her cologne, her perfume, and all that stuff like that. Oh yeah, that was very funny. That was odd. Like who would have imagined a squirrel would have took her perfume? Boom. Oh yeah, I remember that spot. Okay, right where she fell. Remember when she fell forward and her wig fell off too? That direction. Yes. Okay. Keep going straight over there and it's on your left hand side. Boom. Got it. It works out for me. And some of you all are probably like, what the hell is that with, the squirrel, the wig falling off? But I will tell you, I live a very interesting life and I see things like this on a regular. So that is my life. Don't judge me. And my friends will have to explain these things to me. It is to some others, it may be sad. It may be bad, but this is our life and we live with it. So I like to make things simple. You will be surprised when you can make things simple for those around you. It will help your connection. It'll get things straight to the point. The person knows, okay, if he needs help, boom, I know he's going to make it super simple. We can get this done and it's going to be great. Another value, guys, and this is one that I'm really just thinking about. Another value is that you can bring to your connections and your relationships is just being understanding, like simple stuff like that. Instead of like attacking the person or when they tell you stuff, you react and say, oh, you should have did this. Just be understanding. Ask them questions. When you ask other people questions and, things that they're going through, it allows them to think and it allows them to find solutions for themselves. I do that all the time with other people. They'll ask me stuff and I'm like, okay, well, I hear you, but have you ever thought of this? Or what are your thoughts on this? And they're like, oh, I never thought of that. And it allows them to look at whatever they're going through in a different way. So there's many things, guys, that you can do, that you can add value to those around you. All of us are gifted. All of us have incredible talents, incredible things about us that we could use to help the person figure stuff out, to add value to them. Do something extra. Show the person you appreciate them. You are exchanging, again, values with that individual. So if that person, that person helped you out and you say, hey, I would like to treat you, the person, you may hear the person may be healthy. Treat the person to something simple like, hey, I know you like strawberries. Is it okay if I buy you a thing of strawberries? That, I'm telling you, that will go a long way. You will see different things. And if you don't want to do a gift, there's quality time. There's different things you guys can do. Be creative. So really, the point of this is there is an exchange of values that we bring to each person we're connected with, right? Whether it's said or not, it's there. So if your relationships aren't at the best, or you sense it could be a bit better, have that talk with them for real and ask them, hey, how can I bring more value to the relationship? And legit, do not be afraid to ask them what they can bring to it too, because it's an exchange. It's between two people or more. So don't be afraid to ask them. So with that being said, guys, that is it for this episode. I'm trying to think of something that you guys can do for today. Actually, yes, that's a good question to do. Okay, we all have at least two people that we really like a lot. So we have two favorite human beings on this planet. And it would be good for you to simply ask the person, send them a text message, maybe call them, however y'all communicate, draw in the sand, write in the stars, however you want to do it. Ask the person, hey, how can I add more value to our relationship, our friendship? And see what happens. In the beginning, if you're not normally do that, they may think something's wrong with you, but assure them everything's okay. Just say, hey, I was listening to the podcast and they were saying something and I wanted to ask. But seriously, ask them and take your relationship to all new levels. And also be aware when you're connecting with people, be aware if you are not exchanging value. Be aware if you're constantly a taker. So be aware of that. With that being said, guys, you have a fantastic Tuesday, and I will be talking with you Friday. Later. Thank you for listening to today's episode. Please leave a 5-star rating and share with a friend near you. Remember, the world's a better place because you exist. Know your worth and know thyself.